We're on page 5. When we have 3 variables, you guys, if I were you, I would label, since these are like X, Y, and Z, I'm going to label these equations A, B, and C, just so I can keep my work like making sense. So here's what we got to do. I would always suggest going elimination. So even if you're like, I hate elimination. Okay, you guys, even if you're a substituter, I'm going to need you to come to the dark side of elimination. And here's why I say it's just going to be easier. It's going to be easier. So I want you to think about A and B, and I want you to eliminate a variable with A and B, or you could do A and C or B and C. I don't care which version. But if we looked at A and B, could we eliminate my X's pretty easily by multiplying my B equation by what to eliminate my X's? We're just talking about X's real fast. 2 or -2 to get rid of my X's. -2, if I would multiply B by -2, my X's would get rid of it. What about my Y's? Could I multiply B by? -1 would be even maybe easier, right? What about my Z's? Would I need to multiply A by? 4. You guys could do any of those, or you could do even more. You could say, oh, I wanted to multiply A by 2 and B by -4 to get 8 and -8. You could, but that's just more work, right? There's lots of different ways we could do this. What do you think is going to be the easiest? -1. Do you want to do A by -1 or B? It doesn't matter. B. Okay, so here's what I want us to do, you guys. I want you to say A minus B, because that's really what we're doing. And we're going to label that right here and say, I'm really doing A and a -B. And I'm going to put that work right here. Guys, missing one negative sign is going to screw up the whole thing. We're going to get so sad at ourselves. So I'm going to bring down A. 4x plus 2y plus z equals 7. Ooh, this is where I'm always going to put a slash through my z to make sure it doesn't look like a 2. Okay. You guys, if we're going to do -B, let's multiply this whole thing by a -1. -1 times this is going to get me a... Thanks. -2x. What about -1 times my 2y? Beautiful. What about -1 times my -4z? Positive 4z. What about -1 times my -4? Beautiful. Now we're going to add these up, you guys. 4x minus 2x. 2x. Oops, those don't eliminate. 2y minus 2y. Boom. 1z plus 4z. 5z. This is, everyone forgets this one. We got to still add these guys up. 7 plus 4. Okay. You guys, do you agree? I eliminated my y, but I still have 2 variables. Gross. It's okay. Here's what I need you to do now. Do you agree we have not involved equation C at all, right? We need to, because what we're doing right now is finding where these 3 planes intersect. But here's the biggest thing that you got to take into account. Which variable did we just eliminate? Y. When we go involve C, you must get Y by itself again, or eliminate Y again. It's just going to make your life so much faster. Do not go get rid of X's or Z's, even though they might look easier. If we got eliminated Y's in the first equation, you got to get rid of Y's in the second. That's my biggest tip. So we got to involve C. Do we want to do A and C to get rid of our Y's, or B and C to get rid of our Y's? It literally makes no difference. It's going to be the same amount of work, right? So Danny Main, you make the call. Are we going A and C or B and C? I don't care. A and C. He says, let's do A and C. Guys, what do we want to multiply A and C by to get rid of our Y's? -3 and a +2, you say? I'm down with that. Now, you said, could we have done,
Let's do 3. We just do -3.
3 and -2 to keep the negative on the bottom? I'm fine with that. 3 and -2. So here's what I'm going to write off to the side. I'm going to say we're going to do 3 A's and -2 C's. And I'm going to circle that just so I know where my work is coming from. Let's put 3 times A under right here. Let's do 3 times A. Let's visualize this. 3 times 4x. 12x. 3 times 2y. Plus 6y. 3 times z. Equals 3 times 7. Boom. And if it helps you guys, you could always throw that 3 right here. We could just put our 3 here if that would help you see. Mrs. Roth is the current 7th grade math teacher. She used to be my student teacher back in the Dizzle. She said this is called watering the flowers. Boop, boop, boop. Just water the plants. I think that's so cute. Water the plants, okay? All right, then we're gonna do it -2 times my C, and maybe it helps us see. I'm gonna do -2, water the flowers. Boop, 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 boop. All right, -2 times X. Beautiful, -2X minus 6Y plus 4Z. You got it. Plus, equals, equals. Beautiful. You guys, are my Y's going to cancel out? That's huge. Did my Y's cancel out before? Yes, we're going to do it again. 12X plus -2X. 10X. Plus how many Z's? 7 Z's, not 72. It might look like 72 if you don't put your little slash through it. And then 21 plus 16? Beautiful. Here's where a lot of people are like, well, what do I do next? You guys, now we've got these two equations. These two equations, and they each have an X and a Z. Could we do elimination again, just involving these two, to eliminate an X or a Z? Yes, we can. What are we going to do? Do we want to eliminate our X's or our Z's? X's, right? Could I get rid of my Z's by doing a 7 and a -5? Sure, I just don't want to multiply by numbers that big. What do we want to do for our Z's instead? -5, I dig it. I'm going to write like this, -5, boom, boom. And I'm going to be like these. Oh, you know what I would do actually? I'm going to just write it right over there. I'm going to say, I'm going to multiply this by -5. I'm going to put this in pink, boop. And I'm going to just put it right under that one. What do we get when we multiply by -5, water the flowers? -10X? Perfect. Thank you, P. That participation warms my heart. -10X minus 25Z minus 55. Perfect. Let's add them up, people. -10X plus 10X. Eliminated. 7Z minus 25Z. -18Z. Good. 37 minus 55. Hey. You guys, I will tell you, if you were to get like 17 here and this answer be super ugly, you've done something wrong. I'm going to tell you that the problems that I'm going to give you are they're always going to come out nicely. Now, it might be like 1/2 could be an answer, but it's not going to be 17/18. You know what I'm saying? It might be 1/3 because that's like a nice fraction. It's not going to be 1.294 and bet. Could it be in the real world? Absolutely. I just feel like these questions are hard enough that I didn't want you to doubt yourself if you get a crazy number. Okay, so when it comes out nicely, that's when you're like, oh, thank goodness, I know I did it right. So where are we going to put Z as 1? If I put it back up here, I'd still have 2 unknowns. She goes, what? Wait, I had 2 equations right here that only had 2 variables. I had this one, and I also had this one. Liv, you could put it in either one of these, but making sure that you guys are kind of making yourself some little notes and some arrows, because we get confused once we have to look back at this stuff. Do we want to put it in the left one or the right one? It makes no difference. The left. I'm going to put it in without involving that -5. So I'm going to say 2 times my X plus 5 times my Z, which was 1. So I put it right here. So 2X plus 5 equals 11. 2X equals 6. What's X equal? Boom. And then, how am I going to find my Y? We have an X and a Z. She goes, oh, now I got 2 of the 3 variables. Liv, we could plug a 3 in for X here and a 1 in for Z there. Or you could plug them into equation B, or you could plug them into equation C. It makes no difference. Which one? You want C? Purse? I'm down with that. He says, I want C. On C, it's just X, so I'm going to say 3. I don't know what my Y is, so I'm going to say plus 3Y. Minus 2 times my Z is 1. And that equals -8. I'm going to combine some like terms. Worcester, did you get -3?
Yeah.
Perfect. Me too, buddy. So before, when we wrote our solutions, we wrote X comma Y. How do you think we'll write our solutions now that we've got an X, Y, and a Z? X, Y, Z. It still just goes in alphabetical order. So we're going to say X was 3, my Y was -3, and my Z was 1. Okay, on this one, does any equation already have a variable eliminated?
Yes.
The top one is missing what variable? Y. So the first equation that I'm going to label A, just because I think it helps me off to the side, I'm going to label that one A, already has eliminated Y. So you guys, do you think we could use B and C and also eliminate Y? Yeah. How could I eliminate Y with B and C? Multiply C by 2. So I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to take B and I'm going to add it to 2 C's. That's where this next work is going to come from. So I'm just going to bring B down. I got 3x minus 2y plus z equals 0. That's my B. Yeah. So I just brought down B, and then we're going to add 2 C's. So you guys, let's go double C's. What are we going to do when we water the flowers with a 2 on C? We can get negative 4x plus 2y minus 2 z's equal negative 2. Oh, you guys, you're going to get so frustrated because missing one negative sign makes we'll miss the whole thing. So just be slow and deliberate. And maybe if you've got someone next to you, as you're distributing it, say it out loud and see if you agree with each other, because it'll save you a lot of headache. Let's add these two up now. How many x's would I have? Negative x. I agree. Negative 1x. What happens to my y's? Done. How many z's? Negative 1z. So minus z equals, add them up. Negative 2. So now at this point in the game, this is A, which we need to involve with this one because this one involves B and C. We need to get A and B and C all together. Could we do a substitution at this point? We really could. So I'm just saying, because we've already eliminated a y, we could do substitution at this point because our variables would be pretty easy to get by themselves. Would you rather, again, any of these would work, get x by itself, z by itself, this x by itself, or this z by itself? I think that's probably the simplest. It's not the only way we have to do it, but I agree. I think that would be pretty quick. What would x be if I divided both of these by 4? X equals negative 2z. I've not changed a, but now could I involve this a with this equation down here to get a, b, and c all together? If x is negative 2z, could I go put negative 2z in for x right there? Boom. Then that's getting a, b, and c all together now. What would this turn into if it was minus negative 2z? Yeah, it's just going to be a 2z, right? And then I'm going to bring down my minus z equals negative 2. Ooh, you guys, if you weren't drawing a slash through your z's and you literally have this many 2's and z's in one equation, my head might blow off. Do you see what I did here? I replaced this negative 2z. I replaced that x with it. I brought down that minus z, and that equals negative 2. Let's combine them. 2z minus 1z is just z. Oh my gosh, what does z equal? Beautiful. Boom. We got one. Would I plug that in here to go find an x or a y? No, I can't because I'd still have 2 unknowns. Would you rather plug it in option A or in option B? A is going to be pretty quick, right? If z is negative 2, what's x going to be?
4.
Yes. He says, all right, then my x is 4 because I just put in a negative 2 right there. If x is negative 4, oh, regular 4, thank you. If x is regular 4, I could plug that into B or C to get my y. Which guys do you want to do with B or C? It doesn't matter. C. All right. Negative 2 times x. So I'd get a negative 8. Negative 8. Plus my y. I don't know what my y is. Minus my z. Be careful. What do we write?
Plus 2.
Plus 2, because it'd be minus negative equals negative 1. Did you get 5? Great. My answer is going to be x comma y comma z. What we got?
4, 5, negative 2.
4, 5. Oops, I wrote that wrong. 4, 5, negative 2. We got A, B, and C. I just like to label them. It just makes my life a little easier personally. Thanks. Do we want to get rid of my x's, my y's, or my z's? There's not a wrong answer.
X.
X? we'd have to do a negative 2 on top? Okay. What about z's? What could I do with my z's, though? Wouldn't that just be a 3? Because it wouldn't have to be a negative then. I kind of dig that. Looking ahead, I'd have to get rid of my z's again, involving c. Would it still be pretty easy? I could just do a 5 then, right? Now, I agree, to get rid of my x's would not be hard using a negative 2, but I'm just saying negatives mess us up, y'all. Let's get rid of our z's. I think it's just important to weigh your options before you commit. We're multiplying by a 3 on A. So I'm going to say 3A, and I'm going to add that to B. 3A is water the flowers, people. What do we get with 3A? Say it out loud.
3x minus 6y equals 3, or plus 3z equals 45.
Ooh, 45. Big numbers here. We're going to add that to B, so I'm just going to bring B straight down. When people try to do this without showing their work, they're going to make a mistake, I promise you. Then they're going to come weeping up to me, and they're going to say, I don't know what to do, and I'm going to be like, how can I help you if I can't see what your work was? So just write it out, y'all. Let's add these up. How many x's would I have now? 5 x's. How many y's? Perfect, Parsley. Minus 3 y's. My z's are gone. Equals 46. Good call. We've involved A and B. What variable did we get rid of? Z. You must get rid of Z again. I say that because it's so much easier doing that. You must get rid of Z. Involving C. Do we want to do A and C or B and C? A for sure, because B I'd have to multiply both of them by a 5 and a negative 3. Gross. We're going to do how much times A to cancel out with my C? 5. I agree. So I'm going to say 5A plus my C right here. 5A is I'm going to water the flowers with a 5 now. 5x plus 5z equals 75. You got it. Very good. You know what a lot of people forget? I just like to say these to prevent us from doing it. They'll take this and water it here and water it here and water it here, and they'll forget to water the 15. Just throwing it out there. Bring down your C, people. Bring down your C. We had 4x plus a 10y minus a 5z. Oh my gosh, life is so good on this one. Life is so good. We're going to freak out a little bit. How many x's? 9, because we had 5x plus 4y. How many y's? Z's? Equals 72. And as soon as you see that, you're going to be like, oh, bless up. Because 9 goes into 72 how many times? 8 times. So, our goal was to get rid of the z's. Did we happen to kill 2 birds with 1 stone? That is beautiful. Because now we don't have to do a whole nother set of elimination again. We got rid of 2 things. We already got x. Woo! Where do I have to plug that in? I have to plug it in, like she said, to this pink equation. Because if I put it up here, there are too many variables. So if x is 8, 5 times 8? 40. Minus 3y is 46. I'm feeling good. My y is going to be beautiful. We've got an x and a y, people. Let's go get z. A, B, or C? A. She says A. Why did you choose A? Because I would have chosen A too.
Because there's no variable.
She's saying that there's not as many coefficients, right? These all have some big coefficients going on. Boo. Let's do A. I agree. My x is 8 minus 2 times my y, which was negative 2, plus my z, which we don't know, and that's 15. So you guys got 3? X, Y, Z. Will Turner, what'd you say is my final answer?
I got 1.
Uh-oh. Let's check it.